Welcome back to Quick Resume, episode 2, everyone. Today, of course, you wouldn't be surprised to know that my best bud, my brother, Mr. Tim, is here to join us. How are you? How are you today? How's the day been? How's the week been?
I am very good. The week's been long, but it's Friday and it's quick resume time, so I can't complain.
Yeah, cool.
And there's plenty of stuff to go over. So
Ooh,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably looking at the notes. Last week the notes was like 3 pages long. This week it's like 6, and we've got less time. Not a problem. It's a challenge. Yeah. So I mean, so week's been alright. What have you been playing this week? Playing anything in particular?
This week I have mainly just been playing Apex Legends with you mainly, and a couple other buds as well. Just on that rank grind. Well, we got kind of thrown off the rank grind, but we're sort of warming back up to it, trying to hit masters. So
the rank grind is. It's just
real.
It's so real, yeah. It really is.
It's so real. It's like
life grind.
Yeah, like gold to diamond is sort of high plat's quite tough, but then, mate, from diamond to masters is just like crazy. Yeah. But maybe one day.
I do have like moments of self-awareness where I do start doubting myself. I'm like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this anymore. Am I getting old?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is that. It is quite a twitchy shooter as well. And it's one of those things you always doubt yourself. You always doubt the characters you play as well, trying to change up the team comps and everything. But it's all part of the fun.
Totally.
Every loss is a learning experience.
Yeah, isn't it? But I think that's that's always what brings you back with these sorts of games, though, isn't it? It's like it's easy to get angry, get killed, whatever, and be like, oh, they were fucking wraith. But like, really, it's not. It's like because of a million different variables, then you've got half of them wrong, or that sort of thing. So there's always stuff to work 100%. On. That's what makes it interesting. Sweet. So lots of Apex on your end. I mean, obviously, I've been playing Apex with you. The Battle Pass grind, the rank grind, all of that. And I've been playing, I think I mentioned last week, I've been playing a bit of Gears Tactics still. I'm loving playing that on my Razer Kishi, on the little portable phone holder thing. It works really well. It's an absolute treat. The sticks are a bit weird. I hate bad sticks on controllers, and they're not good, but the rest of it's like pretty well built.
Is it better than Switch sticks?
No, it's
worse than Switch sticks.
Yeah, but they just feel a bit stiff. But they're they're alright. They get the job. You're not going to be playing any Apex ranked on a Razer Kishi anyway. So it's it's suited. It's perfectly suited for a game like Gears. Anyway, game's really good. I am hitting a bit of one of the big criticisms people keep talking about with Gears Tactics is like the side missions, and it's kind of like filler. It's kind of cool because you go and get loot. But as the game goes on, they give you more that you have to go through. They give you like 5, and they're like, "Oh, go do 3 out of these 5." And then as the game goes on, you get more and more of them to do. And it's like, I just kind of want to play a story. It's fine.
They actually lock you in to doing the sides.
Yeah, like sometimes between a couple of missions, there's like a scheduled like side mission break. Yeah, where you just have to.
I don't like that.
Yeah, and it's fine, like because the missions are quite varied and stuff, but it's like. Sometimes there's just too many. Sometimes they're like, do 3. And it's like, I don't want to do 3. Maybe I'll do 1. I'll do the other ones if I want the loot. Because there's like, loads of loot and good shit. But anyway, that's what I've been playing. That's all been good.
Nice.
So
yeah, that's definitely on my list to play as well. So I'll get around to that as well.
Sick, man. Add it to the backlog.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we better get started then. So, I mean, I've been very diligent this week in making my notes chronological, but half of the news is actually being invalidated by what happened yesterday anyway. So we're just going to jump right to yesterday, and then we're going to skip back to the beginning of the week and go through. So, I mean, we're obviously going to start with the big thing happened, as we said it all would.
What big thing?
A big thing.
What big thing? I don't remember anything happening yesterday.
I clipped my rabbit's toenails for the first time in 2
Oh,
months.
that's a big thing.
They were like talons, like eagle talons.
Nice.
But other than that, this little indie studio, Bethesda, joined Xbox, and that all got confirmed. That's all been locked in, and there was this hour-long roundtable with a load of different people from Bethesda and Xbox, and it was a treat to be a part of. What a weird time to be alive in gaming. It's always still a bit surreal, to be honest, but wow. Any thoughts?
It's pretty, I mean, it's pretty bonkers. And I didn't watch the entire like roundtable thing that you were talking about. I did tune in slightly when you sent me the link. But I definitely watched that intro trailer, which was
blinded
pretty
by
high.
the lights.
Yeah.
That one, yeah, it was so good, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was pretty hype, and it was so cool how they like integrated it all within the first party studios that are currently with Xbox.
Yeah.
You know, like all like the Gears like cutscenes, and then like Halo things were like appearing on the monitors and stuff like that. It was all just like really well like edited, and it was pretty hype. I'm not gonna lie.
Definitely.
Pretty cool.
It felt like a fan trailer, and I mean that in the best way. It felt like a well-made fan trailer. Do you know what I mean? Like a fan, but like it was sick. I liked how it was like all the studios, and like we spoke about last week, the first party studios, or whether you call them first party or not, all of the studios under Xbox. There's so many now. I think 24 is the number we landed on, wasn't it? And it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
The roundtable was really good. If you get a chance, definitely watch it. Toddy Howard was there, legendary game dev. Yeah, he was like, from minute one, there was like banter between Phil and Todd, and it was great. They were like, because he said, Todd said something about it being the cleanest video feed he's watched so far, obviously because they were in person, and Phil was like, "Are you already doing ads for Microsoft?" It was fucking.
Yeah, well, they go quite a way back. I feel like Todd and Phil. They've always had that bit of banter between them.
Yeah.
They're Todd is. I think they both know their kind of memes, so like they definitely embrace it, which is cool.
Yeah, it was sick though, man. If you get an hour and you just have a drink or whatever, worth listening to. Really interesting insights. They also go through. Pete Hines presented it, like I say, he was the marketing and community manager, and he's a really good host. This sort of format makes me think that they should just fuck off Inside Xbox and just do this instead. This was way more interesting.
Xbox, I haven't watched Inside Xbox in a while.
Nobody does. It's only me. It's just me. It's literally just
You're the one person.
Yeah. It really is. Anyway, they're always really...
I didn't even realise that was still going.
Yeah, it is. The last one they did was the most respectable one because they had like... they showed off the trailer for Everwild there. And I think they announced something else as well. Maybe Gears Tactics come into console. I don't know. It wasn't too bad, but usually the format's just a bit... I don't want to use the word cringe because that's what other people would use, but it's not really. It's just a bit too playful, and I don't want to sound like a twat. It's just like
it's cheesy. It's
a bit cheesy.
It's scripted, and it's for sure.
Like you want everyone to have fun, but like this format was a nice in between. Like everybody was clearly enjoying themselves. It wasn't too scripted, but it was like really informative. And like I think when people watch these shows, they don't need it to be megaton after megaton, but they want it to be engaging, not just people talking about nothing, So anyway, they went through all of the studios, and we got into peek behind the curtain for all the studios and all things like that. And it was no real announcements other than 20 Games Pass games coming to Games Pass today.
That's it.
And the marketing executive of Xbox, Aaron Greenberg, he's gotten into a real good pattern of under-promising and over-delivering. He kept getting criticised for hyping things up too much, but now he keeps saying, don't expect anything, nothing much is going to be going on, and then there is usually a pretty good announcement. So he's clearly learning. But yeah, that was, I think we could all regret a pretty sick surprise. So I think as sort of a branch off from this, one of the biggest things that has been speculated about all week, which, by the way, I had a lot of restraint not messaging you about throughout the week. I'm quite proud of myself. It was about the whole exclusivity question, and we did go over this a bit last week, and as did all the other thousands of podcasts, absolutely done this to death. I think I spent half my time talking on forums to people and going back and forth on it because it's just such a weird thing. Of course, earlier in the week, on Tuesday, they put out an Xbox article. Did you read that at all? When they officially joined, an article came out from Phil Spencer and gave a little talk around it.
I did not read that article. No.
There wasn't. I mean, it wasn't. Basically, he was just saying, it's gone through yada yada yada. And at one point, he said, and there are going to be some exclusives on Xbox and PC. And so this kind of was like, it somehow made everything worse. Like it gave more questions than it did answers, because everyone was like, what does the word "some" mean? Are we going to get some exclusives? Anyway, they sat down for this round table, yesterday, and like the first thing that Phil basically said was like, look, please listen to what I'm saying. Like this is what's going on with the exclusivity status. And just to read it to you word for word, because it's worth sort of going over sort of quote unquote. He said, so obviously I can't sit here and say every Bethesda game is exclusive, because we know that's just not true. There's contractual obligations that we're going to see through, and as we always do in every one of these instances. We have games that exist on other platforms, and we're going to go to support those games on the platforms they're on. There's communities of players. We love those communities, and we'll continue to invest in them. And even in the future, there might be things that have either contractual things or legacy on different platforms that we'll go do. But if you're an Xbox customer, the thing I want you to know about this is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Games Pass exists. And that was kind of nail in the coffin for that discussion, because everybody was like, well, aside from the outliers, ESO already existing multi-platform, Fallout 76 already existing multi-platform, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, that, again, contractual obligations. Aside from that, this sounds like if there's a platform that has Games Pass on it, it's going on that. And at the moment, that's Xbox, PC, and cloud or Android, whatever. So, I mean, it's hard to sort of pull hairs with that, really. It seems pretty clear-cut that most games going forward are going to be exclusive.
Which is pretty crazy to think, especially with the upcoming Elder Scrolls and everything. Like, surely that falls into that category, right?
Upcoming is a very generous word, but yeah.
Yeah, upcoming in maybe our lifetime.
Yeah, maybe.
But, like... Yeah, that's pretty crazy to think. I mean, unless there's like a pre-contractual obligation already in place for that, which they just can't talk about yet, or something like that, based on the fact when it was announced, and I don't know, there could be some stuff buried like that. Yeah,
there's stuff behind the curtains which we don't really know, because when he speaks about legacy there, like, it's hard to... it really sounds like he means everything's going to be on, like, exclusive. But like, for example, like Wolfenstein 3, like Elder Scrolls 6, like installments, like it still sounds like he intends to make them exclusive. But I mean, even like upcoming ones like we spoke about last week, like Starfield, that was something which, I don't know if you heard this, that was something that supposedly Sony had been putting bids in for timed exclusivity to keep it off Xbox for a year. So unless there's any contract in place for that, like I really think after these Deathloop and Ghostwire that are on PlayStation, it's just going to be full exclusive, other than maybe Outliers, maybe Indiana Jones, so who knows. But I feel he's doing the whole hog.
It's pretty crazy to think, and it's mental. Like, actually, just I don't know. Like you said, it almost like it hasn't sunk in yet. And then even when you just think about like the possibilities and all the, it's crazy. Like, it really is just absolutely mental. And I mean, you're even talking just sequels for things that already exist as well. Like, all those things coming into Games Pass, we've got like 20 of them or whatever it was. Like, there's probably going to be sequels to a lot of those, if not all of them, right? Yeah. And absolutely. You'd like to think those are all exclusives. And I mean, I know that I pretty much have bought every Bethesda game under the sun, which is in my game library. And to think that that sort of stuff is not reaching, PlayStation is pretty crazy. It almost makes me kind of feel bad. PlayStation. Well, it really does. Like, I'm all about that sharing,
Yeah, well, it is that sort of thing, isn't it? The whole exclusivity chat. Like, a lot of people will argue that the competition is healthy. I always say, if we lived in a world where there were no exclusives, I wouldn't be asking for anyone to make exclusives, but we do, so I am.
yeah,
it's naive, kind of, really, to say we need to get rid of them. Like, I think, especially coming off the back of the PlayStation generation, where they just had, like home run after home run after home run, and the constant criticism that the first party studios at Xbox got is that you need not just more, but you need better first party games, and that's been going on for 5, 6, 7 years now. So this is the response.
We definitely took it on board, all that criticism.
That's like I was saying to you earlier as well. It's not just Bethesda. In 2015, 2016, 2017, Xbox only had 4 or 5 first-party studios. They have 24 now. It's crazy. Yeah. Even outside Bethesda, they added like 7 or 8. Mental.
It is. It's we really went on a buying spree. We really just went with a little bit. Philly got a hold of the credit card, went a little bit crazy. They should have capped it. But, it's what it is.
I do like to think that Satya just like left his credit card like on the table. He just snatched it. I was like, right.
It just logs on. 7.5 billion gone?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, probably wouldn't even notice it.
True.
That is just so much money. Anyway, fucking cool. I think we're both in agreement. That is
it's mental.
Really
cool.
Exciting.
Very
It's obviously a shame for everybody who is on any other platform who's not going to get to play them anymore. But I will say, of any platform to get Bethesda, Xbox is the best, has the lowest barrier to entry in all of them. If you wanted to get into an Xbox ecosystem, you can get a Series S really cheap. They're going to drop in price. Even on like xCloud, I think, can you get onto xCloud without an Xbox? No, you can't, can you? No. But PC as well, obviously. Like these are things that other platforms don't really support. PlayStation started putting some of their stuff on PC now, but it's hit or miss, and it's like years later, Xbox is day and date. So like if as much as it sucks, it has the lowest barriers to entrance out of all of the platform holders.
Yeah, so for sure.
There is that at the very least.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. There was one other thing I just wanted to touch on before we moved on from the whole Bethesda thing, and that was, I think, like you said, the fact that all of those studios are together is very, very exciting. I think I spoke about the Coalition a lot as a first-party studio that I really, really like under Xbox. Obviously, I love like Ninja Theory for Hellblade as well. Hellblade 2 is probably my most anticipated game outside of maybe Avowed for Obsidian. So again, like these studios are fucking amazing, but Phil specifically picked out id Tech, so the guys who made Doom, and we're familiar with that engine, aren't we? I think they used id Tech for Rage as well, Rage and Rage 2. Okay. And they developed that engine.
Yes. They do. Yeah.
And Phil specifically was like, I'm so excited that we can share this technology that we have like internally as well now. I've been thinking about like what the teams could do with id Tech, and it's just I know people spoke about this as a joke when it was first announced back at the end of last year. They were like, imagine Halo built on the Doom engine. Like it's just weird. Like I don't know, because the possibilities are out, even just outside of like the creation of the games. Like they can share that technology being shared is really cool, because id Tech is an amazing engine. Just possibility, it boggles the mind.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, the amount of resources that have now just opened up for basically, studios to just be like, oh, okay, I guess we'll, just pick whatever engine they want, pick whatever, how they want to build their game and how it will look the best or perform the best. There's just so many options now. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it's for sure.
Outside of just the timeline of what could be coming up. It's just the sharing of technology there, and the collaboration really is also sort of super exciting, because Bethesda do some awesome stuff really. It makes you think what's going to happen at their E3 event this year. I mean, that's just going to be jam packed. I don't even think they'll be able to do a traditional E3. There'll just be too much. There genuinely will be too much to show. So I don't know.
They'll just have their own separate E3 and call it like B3.
Yeah. P3. It's fucking Phil's Twitter name, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. P3.
So that's all really, really exciting. God, I love E3 time. It'll still be...
It's the best.
Yeah, it will still be weird because it won't be back to normal this year. I think, a lot of people still think E3's on its deathbed, but it's that's going to be super, super exciting this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Wicked. All right, well,
Definitely.
Anything to add on that before we sort of move on to some other bits and bobs that we can talk around? There are some bigger talking points as well.
No, I think we've covered pretty much everything. It's just crazy amounts of hype,
Crazy
really.
amounts of hype.
It's the baseline, really.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
yeah,
I guess obviously as well, though, it was worth mentioning. They said obviously after the 20 games that dropped into Games Pass as of today, not Evil Within 2 though.
yeah, that's weird. And not there was another two as well. What there was another sequel that wasn't in there.
Fallout
What
3
was
wasn't
it?
in there.
Yeah, okay, that's weird. That wasn't the one I was thinking of, but
Yeah,
there was another one as well.
there are a few
Um,
things like
Hang on.
Dishonored: Death of the Outsider isn't in there either, and that's a standalone. Like it's not. I haven't played it yet, but there are a few things. Supposedly, the Evil Within 2 and Fallout 3 aren't in there because they were on PlayStation Plus not long ago, and when that
Yeah,
happens,
just the new, Wolfenstein, the New Order
New
as well
Order,
wasn't on
that's
there.
right. That's the
Yeah.
first one though, isn't it? Oh, the Doom 2016 isn't in there either. The first Doom reboot.
Oh no, no, yeah, the New Order is on there. Sorry, yeah,
Colossus.
you're right. It's the first one that's not on there. Okay, that's fine. I
Yeah.
kind of wanted to play the second one, so I'm actually kind of over it now. What I was going to complain about, I'm over it.
I think they'll come. It's
Okay.
just like I said. I think there's just weird contractual things like Fallout 3 and the Evil Within 2 were on PlayStation Plus not that long ago. So as a result, they're kind of bound to PlayStation for a bit longer. So they'll turn up, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I want to play Evil Within 2.
Yeah, and I want to play Dishonored: Death of the Outsider. I mean, I already own it, but more importantly, a lot of these games should hopefully be, they teased frame rate boosts for some of these games as well. We don't know how many, obviously, but Fallout 4 was supposed to be one of the ones in the initial lineup that had a frame rate boost. That it was leaked.
That would be cool.
But it obviously wasn't, so everybody was thinking what's going on. But now I think they just held it back because they want to release a batch of frame rate boosted games. Skyrim, Fallout, maybe some others. Hopefully Dishonored. I'm really crossing my fingers for all the Dishonored games because...
Yeah, I always felt like Dishonored was so smooth anyway, but they're 30, are they?
Yeah, they're 30. They are.
Oh,
I mean, their art style
yeah.
is very smooth. I mean, I think they're locked 30, but...
Hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's just like there are lots of these games I'd love to go back and play, but fuck me, is it hard to go back on 30? It's just really
Yeah.
difficult. It's like playing
Yeah, it's
Control.
tough.
It's just it's horrible.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Hopefully, frame rate boost news. I think we touched on that last week. Like we said, it's only going to get better, and the more games, the more the merrier on that. Really
Yeah. Absolutely.
wicked. Well, if we sort of go back through from the beginning of the week, then there was some stuff, and there is still some relevant stuff outside of Bethesda that happened this week in the Xbox in the Xbox gaming world. So that, and some of them are like bigger, more controversial topics, so it is worth going over them. So, and a lot of it, as you can see in the notes, is actually it doesn't matter anymore because all the speculation fizzled out because we actually got the answers to it at the end of the week.
Okay.
So I'll just take us through sort of the bit by bit. There was something else about. I guess we'll start with this. There was in Germany last week. There is a law which is one step away from being implemented, which is about banning loot boxes, or rather making loot boxes only accessible for adults. All it needs is the approval of the second chamber of parliament to enter into force. I don't know what that means, the second chamber of parliament, but it sounds very
Chamber
important.
of Secrets.
It's more important than the first chamber, let me tell you that. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
giant
definitely.
basilisk in it, yeah.
Yeah, the Basilisk needs to approve it.
Yeah, he just has to hiss at a couple of loot boxes. Yeah, they like get it up on screen for a basilisk. He's like, ah!
Yeah, it's
Take it
angry.
down.
It doesn't. It doesn't want it.
Take it down. Yeah. So and this is the eternal loot box debate. What are your thoughts on loot boxes?
My thoughts on loot boxes are a little bit mixed.
Go ahead.
Because I do understand the fact that it can be considered gambling because it's extremely addictive to keep cracking those bad boys open. But then I think it's fine. It's just dependent on the game and how the game's doing it. Like if we look back to like Battlefront 2 and stuff like that, that's not okay. Like I completely think that the way they did their progression system when you buy a full price
Star
game
Wars.
was just yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for that was just not okay. You're buying a full price game, and then you also just have to spend a crap ton of money to actually progress through that game and unlock the things you want. But I think the way the Apex Legends does it, for example, we play that a lot. I think that's fine. I think it's extortionately expensive, but it's a free, it's a free to play game, and the amount of value, sure, we've probably spent £100+ on that game, probably when you add it up. I don't think we've spent over 150. I'd like to say it's between the 120. This isn't a discussion I want to have in public. but yeah. But regardless, when you factor that over the amount of time we played on it, it's absolutely worth the money. It's crazy the amount of value we've got out of that game when you think about it. So I don't know, and I don't like the way Overwatch did it as well. Again, my view on it is it's fine if it's free to play, and you're not just drowned in it. It's cool because Apex do it in events that come every few months or something like that, or every couple months. You're not just drowned in it constantly. But yeah, I didn't like the way Overwatch did theirs. Again, I just think full price game, no.
What was wrong
free to play.
What was wrong with Overwatch's?
Well, Overwatch's was the fact that you bought a full price game and you still it was cosmetic only. Sure,
it was only 30, wasn't it? It was only half price.
I thought Overwatch was a full price game.
No, I'm pretty sure it was only 30.
I could have sworn it was a £55 game. Okay, well, if that's the case, I half retract my statement, but not fully retract.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my view on it is full priced is a bit of a no. If you're doing it discounted and cosmetic and the way Apex do it and stuff, free to play, I think it's okay. I just think maybe people just need to control their children a little bit more. I have self-control. I'm an adult, but if your 10-year-old son just goes into your wallet and steals your card, I mean, they could do that on Amazon and just buy a crap ton of stuff. What's the difference? You need to control their whatever.
That's a good point,
if you're complaining.
It's a good point,
it's this. Yeah. So yeah, it's mixed. I actually don't mind them personally.
Yeah. No. I think mostly I'd agree. I don't think that there's nothing. I want to say there's nothing inherently wrong with loot boxes. I mean, if you're a grown adult, you can. The problem is more that if they are implemented to such a degree that it inhibits the progression systems of the game, that's a fucking problem. If you're putting them in so much that I can't find enjoyment in other areas of the game, it's that's or if they're rigged in such a way that it's designed to give you the bare minimum just to give you the enough just enough hook to keep playing. And that's the thing, they usually are, because a lot of these we're in a time of data driven decision making for businesses, and that often means that decisions are made whether or not where they sit on the moral sort of area, so
nothing is moral about it.
I mean, it is difficult because I always remember, and this is why part of me makes me be a bit of a loot box apologist, because I don't, when they're done right, I think they are kind of enjoyable. And the reason, this is the thing, when people say why not just make it into a progression system? Why not just take that loot and give it to me throughout the levels? It's well, firstly, I don't see why you can't have both. But secondly, they do that because they know, and this is psychology degree coming in handy. Random interval feedback is the best type of feedback. It's, again, I'm not saying that means that it's quote unquote enjoyable or, but it's good for retention. Does retention equal enjoyment? I don't know. Yeah, that's a whole different philosophical debate. But it's people come back more often, and they tested this with rats. If they give rats at 6 o'clock every day, how likely are they to go there? Fairly, how much are they willing to stand on an electric fence? Oh, a little bit. And then it's well, how about we do it randomly? The rat's there all the time because it doesn't know when it's going to come out. The rat's waiting for some water to come out. So you can see why that sort of random interval sort of conditioning is really good. So I don't, again, it's difficult for me to say I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with them, but I do think in terms of the game design space, as long as it's not ripping apart and shitting on the fun I can have with the game. And I think that is like why we've now moved to a place of like loot boxes are cosmetic only. Developers and publishers, they say this is almost like an advertisement now, don't they? It's like, we have loot boxes, but they're cosmetic only, and that's kind of like a boon. That's like, oh, it's a good thing, and that's of course because hopefully to us that's kind of a signal flare of like the game's progression system isn't going to be impacted really, but we still have additional cosmetic stuff that you can gamble on, I guess. But that's the problem in my eyes.
Yeah. But then I still think I would still be annoyed if 55 full price game, 59 now with the next gen, came out. Came out and they were just like, we're a full price game, but we also have cosmetic things that you can buy. I would still be pretty annoyed because I just feel like they're trying to suck the money out of my wallet. I would just think poorly on that company and the way they're doing it, even if it's not impacting my game experience that much. It just comes across as greedy
sleazy
and desperate, and it's just a bit sleazy. But if I boot up a game like Apex that I just click download on, it doesn't take any money out of my wallet, and then they're like, hey, have this, your character looks cool, I'm like, fine, I'm completely okay with that. But it's just a mentality thing.
It is a little bit, because I do think like the internet tends to freak out over the word loot box nowadays, when I don't really think it's necessary. But at the same time, I do think the models, it's just the models that have to be adjusted in the game design space to have a loot box can sometimes be a bit shit. Like one thing I like, for example, like Apex is like, they throttle the amount of packs you get. This is gambling things, whatever. They give you loads up front and then they take it away. So it's like, oh, I've got to have my next hit. It sound like an old grandma, but that's what it is essentially. They're putting it away so that you can get more. And it's like, well, I wish that didn't happen, because actually, there's more than enough cosmetic stuff in the game. You don't need to be doing that. Like, so that again, it's this idea of like, well, what's good for your business, but what's good morally? Like, okay, I keep coming back to the game because the game's fun, but like in terms of those side progression systems, which to be fair isn't the bulk of the game, it would be more satisfying to me. At least that's how I would describe it. It's just, that's the thing. What if you go into enough detail about this sort of stuff, you just get into sort of like hypothetical, like theoretical, philosophical area, and you can't really get out of it. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
But I mean, it sounds like we're both kind of impartial on the fact that we don't mind it given the scenario. Loot boxes, I wouldn't want them to get banned. Like, I'm not about that. But I just think there's certain ways you go about it. And I think even these days, if you go about it the wrong way, the way that I've explained that I don't like it, I do think you just naturally get punished by the gaming community these days doing that anyway. So that's just naturally avoided, regardless of law banning them or not. Companies avoid doing it in that way now, just because
it's bad PR.
Exactly. They will just be dead on arrival if they did that. So I think in itself, the community's almost invented a law against loot boxes kind of anyway, just tailored differently.
It's definitely kind of an example of the community maturing a little bit, isn't it? I think, but I mean, I think we can both agree that loot boxes for children should probably be regulated. I think, like you say, we should. I think this is a real problem though, because a lot of games, like we've had like a bit of a generational gap between, for most parents, not everyone, but like parents of our generation and maybe the generation before us, not knowing fucking diddly squat about what's a Game Boy. Like my mum and dad still call my Xbox a Game Boy, so like they don't know anything. So like they're not going to have any control over privacy settings. So I think it's really important that these privacy settings are there and that the parents know how to do that. But
you need to make them more aware.
Yeah, but like that's not new though. I think most of the time, your dad's going to notice if you're gambling away £150 at a time on their credit card. So
yeah, but you can cap a card spend on the console anyway.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I still think like at a systems level, like even because especially if you think about like we're not just talking about console games, which are a lot more regulated than like mobile games, right? Like mobile games are a nightmare. Like you can easily download a game nick a card and just to start going ham, and that's a bit odd. I feel like that even at like a policy level, I don't think we should be going into that territory. Like buying stuff straight up, sure. Rolling a dice on it, not. It's a bit of a bad habit to be developing. And like, the reason they're doing this is because there is research that suggested, it fosters bad decision making around this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's understandable.
The weirdest one and the most controversial offender, at least in my eyes, is, and I love this game, but it's something like Hearthstone, right? I mean, Hearthstone
because it is a microtransaction.
The game is cards, and you buy the cards, like essentially. And I think that's kind of crazy. And I know that I have spent hundreds and hundreds of pounds on Hearthstone, and I've only played it for like 4 seasons, maybe. And it's because the game is that it's basically like, you want to play the game, you give us money constantly. Like that I don't know how they don't get bad PR for it.
Right. I mean, you make a fairly
it's
good
a great
point.
game.
Like, we don't stop kids buying trading cards.
Yeah. I made that point.
You did. In a roundabout way, you did, yeah. Because, I mean,
nice.
if Hearthstone is just a digitized version of trading cards, and Hearthstone is a loot box machine game, then
yes.
Why is that not just a parallel to buying physical trading cards? Like, if we're willing to call something where you open it and get random stuff a loot box, then surely trading cards are just a physical version of a loot box.
It's exactly the same thing, but just physical and way more satisfying.
But I think this is like a lot of and like other people have spoken about this before, isn't it? Because they can, when it's digitized, they can add like so many effects. It's just you open a pack and everybody's like legendary. So everyone's like, and you're like, oh.
Nothing. No. But nothing beats cracking open a pack in physical. Like,
you do get the smell.
Physical way you do it.
It's
incredible, and it's the way that you open it up backwards, and you look at the cards like in reverse, doing the one at a time.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
But because they clearly took notes from that when they're making Hearthstone, because they let you open it how you want, and like you can hover over it and see it. You can open it how you want, so they knew that there's kind of like people enjoy it, not just having it thrown at you, but like you can do it how you want.
They've definitely had some psychology experts
without doubt.
Just working. They got like a team of like 4 million working 9 to 5, figuring out how the human brain works when opening up loot boxes and cards and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I completely agree with the fact that the point that apparently I made, where you can't stop a kid buying the physical cards, but
maybe we should.
But and it's the same as someone like Amazon as well. Like, my card's on Amazon. If my kid has, I don't have a kid, but theoretically, if my kid has access to my Amazon, he could just go crazy and buy whatever the hell he wants. There's some mental stuff on Amazon, and there's nothing stopping like that. But I don't know. Yeah, anyway.
But it's just that.
Parents
like the kids being exploited. That's the thing. Like, that's different. Like, you can see it up front, and like those packs are designed to draw people in. And when you're drawing someone in who's doesn't have a job or any sense of value or money, that is a bit exploitative. And I think you do need to start putting a line under. It's like, well, hang on, what's exploitative versus what is like a consenting adult making a bad decision?
Yeah.
So that's a fun one. Loot boxes are always fun.
Yeah. Always.
And do you know what? Actually, just like on a quick tangent, I don't know why this just popped into my head, but imagine it's weird because nowadays multiplayer games, probably from like 2010 onwards, maybe a bit later than that, it's quite a recent thing, 2015 onwards, multiplayer games cannot be competitive anymore unless they're free. And like you've seen that in all the biggest releases, even with Battle Royale. Battle Royale's being the most popular, but obviously Fortnite probably kickstarted that trend. Warzone was like a free to play edition.
Yeah, it's separate to the game.
Yeah, which is mental. You would never have thought that would have happened. Back in 2005 when every game was trying to bundle in a multiplayer mode with its single player mode, and now we've just like done a full 180, and that's not happening anymore. Halo Infinite is pivoting away. That's multiplayer is going to be free to play. It's like these games, because they're all competing for your time. They can't afford, now that the cat's out the bag, and some of them are free to play, the others can't afford the disincentive of you paying money to get into it. So it's just funny how that's all worked out. Like, and I think what I was going to say is, how funny would it be in a world where we never like went into the crypt, you know, and found the tome of microtransactions and started using microtransactions? What would the world of 60 like full price multiplayer games look like? Isn't that just a weird thing to think about? Like, because we're so far away from that now, where it's like they have to be fueled like constantly by be free and then obviously microtransactions, etc., etc. But if we were at a place where just like a single player game was, a game was released like price and package as a full multiplayer game, what does that even look like? Like, I'm struggling to tell you. The last thing I could think of is Titanfall 2 is the last thing I can think that's actually coming to mind. Like,
it's pretty crazy. And I mean, it looks like less value for the consumer, really, at the end of the day. We kind of only benefited from it because, I mean, even those fully packaged ones that you said, Titanfall 2, like they're pretty bare bones when you look back at it. I mean, like it had a lot, don't get me wrong, but like you get that and more with free to play titles now. So it's quite a funny
it's just weird, isn't it?
You just described.
Yeah, it's just weird because even like in the old ones, even in like COD 4, for example, whenever we got multiplayer expansions for that, it would just be they would be big DLCs. Like they wouldn't be, you know, the game would be split up, and I guess that's the downside. That the games would split their user base, whereas when games have smaller microtransactions littered over a longer period of time, they can afford to be more fluid with the content updates. So, you know, there's a reason we've gone this way, but it's just funny to think about an idea of a fully priced multiplayer game. So it just strikes me as weird.
Yeah, it's very odd. It's just crazy how much things have changed, because I would be willing to slap a massive £60 on a game like Black Ops 2 or like Titanfall 2, and now I'm so skeptical to doing that. But no, it's pretty crazy.
Cool.
Changed a lot, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. How much time have you got?
I've got another like 20 minutes. That's fine. Yeah, okay. I just had to sort of just clarify that.
That's right.
That's why I asked you to just carry on while you were speaking.
That's right.
No, good to go.
Cool. All right. Well, there we did it. We did the loot box conversation. Won't be the first. Well, isn't the first time. Won't be the last time. I'm sure we'll come back to it at some point.
Yeah.
So, we've got a potential Skyrim 10th anniversary edition teased by an insider. Don't know if it's happening or not. Skyrim. We're gonna get it again.
I don't want it again. I'm sure this is such a dead meme on the internet. But fuck me, man. Just put Skyrim teased, 6 feet under.
No.
Just leave it.
But I'm never adverse to I'm never opposed to the idea of playing Skyrim again when it's been updated. I don't know why. I kind of feel like the game it's kind of timeless like that, and I somehow feel, and this is kind of weird because I guess Skyrim is kind of like the first like big single player game that I really like got into. I think, especially in that genre, like nothing has ever tried to replicate Skyrim's success. It's so weird. Like I was talking to someone on Reddit about this the other day. You know, somebody said, you know, I've never played like any of the other Scrolls. Like, should I play Skyrim or is it going to feel like dated? And I was like, well, you know, maybe some of the combat, some of the graphics, some of the animations might feel a bit outdated, but Skyrim kind of like revolutionized the open world genre. To be honest, like Absolutely. Before that, nothing did what Skyrim did in terms of the scope of the world, like the size of the skills and the progression systems and how organic it all is. Like it's absolute. Like most open worlds followed what Skyrim followed in its footsteps, and it's just, there's just something about it which is so like I'm absolutely okay with going back to this. It's a very special game.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. It literally paved the way for all other RPGs to that extent. I do agree, and I think things have tried to go on its success. Like Witcher 3 comes to mind and stuff like that, and they have succeeded. But yeah, it's not quite the same as Skyrim. It's not quite open, and it's not quite. I don't know.
Exactly. It's hard to put your finger on, but like I mean,
jank.
The jank, yeah, it's just not as buggy, for better or worse. But like, I mean, the most obvious thing there is that nobody's done it in the first person genre. I mean, I know you can flick to third person in Skyrim, whatever.
You can say that. Like
you're a
Fallout
psychopath
4.
if you use that. But what?
You can say like Fallout 4 and stuff like that.
It's not like fantasy though. You know, that's more like I guess post-apocalyptic, dystopian, whatever.
Yeah,
it's a shooter.
It's
a shooter.
Mutants.
There we go. We did
fancy.
it. It's a shooter.
Okay.
Well, it's not fantasy. Nobody fantasizes about mutants, you psycho.
Oh, well, I don't know. You don't know what I do after club,
yeah.
So
don't judge me. Don't kink shame.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, and it is a very special game. But I do love the idea of going back to it, sure. But when I boot it up, I'm not interested. Like, I just won't. I just can't anymore. There's only so much. There's only so much a soul can take.
You wake up in that fucking trolley with that fucking long-haired, like blonde guy. Like, oh, you're awake. Fuck off. Go away.
Finally, you're awake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I just I'm done. I'm done with it.
Well,
fantastic game. Really,
like fully
upgraded my
upgraded,
life.
60 frames, 4K, like all the textures. Like, I'm not talking an upres. Like, I'm talking like a mild remake.
No,
you wouldn't.
I don't think so.
I'm outraged.
You're making me second guess myself.
I don't know. I think you'd have to see it, and hear the music again. But I think it'd be hard to say no to, especially in Games Pass.
No, I just can't. I just can't talk to Parthenax anymore. It's too much for me to take, dude.
The fucking greybeards. I'm sick of the greybeards, actually.
Yeah, I hate that segment of the game. I hate it. I hate climbing Mount Hoth.
I can never find the right way to climb the mountain. I can never.
No.
I
just jank climb it. I just jank climb it.
I can never find the right way. Do you know what? I think because I did one time, and isn't there like a troll on the path?
There's a troll.
So everybody's just like conditioned to not go up that way because the dude just smacks you off the edge.
Yeah, I just leave Lydia to take on the troll.
Yeah.
Sometimes she comes back.
Good luck.
Sometimes she doesn't. Yeah. Sometimes she just gets whacked off.
Rest in peace, Lydia. Yeah. So I think because this also ties into, like, I think you've said your most anticipated first party game from Xbox is Avowed, which really is again, like, nobody has tried to like really replicate what Skyrim. There hasn't been like a first person open world RPG melee type magic game, whatever, since Skyrim. Nobody's even tried because Skyrim set the bar so high. And Avowed is the first to do that. And you saw that clip the showcase last year, and you're like, oh, hello.
Yeah, I got very moist.
This looks fucking nice. Yeah. So hopefully we see more about that soon. But that's Skyrim.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a few weird little things, really. Have you heard about Edge is being updated?
Edge still there.
Edge is I know. What the fuck is it? Anyway, I know
this podcast is brought to you by Edge. We're actually doing it on Edge. No. We're not.
Yeah. Phil, we accept check or direct debit.
No, if he paid me, I still wouldn't.
Yeah, it's too much. I use Bing though. I use Bing all day.
Yeah.
Microsoft Rewards.
For the rewards.
I'm addicted to that.
You are.
Edge is getting updated to a version called Chromium.
Wow, suable.
Yeah, actually, is it called Chromium? I don't have the name here. That's the name that's in my head, and I'm now thinking maybe it's not. I'm sure it is. Anyway, so that's supposed to be updated to like on Xbox as well. And supposedly, people who are testing it, insiders say that you can play Stadia through it. So on some builds you can play Stadia
did hear about this.
On Xbox.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. I mean, Stadia is still a thing apparently, but that's pretty cool.
You'll be able to play Stadia until it's gone in 6 months.
I don't know why you'd ever boot up like a console like the Series X and then open Edge and then go on Stadia. I mean,
it's just a flex. It's literally just a flex on Google. That's it.
Yeah, it's but hey, it's kind of.
But
cool,
you can do
right?
it if you want.
Yeah,
it's an option.
Like, sure, I'm okay with Edge being updated. I guess it really changes my life. None. But it's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, it's just the weirdness of the tech of it, I guess, and the open platform that Xbox is, because it's like it's on an enhanced version of Windows, isn't it, or something? The UI anyway, or the OS.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people say. So
yeah,
pretty cool. Maybe one day we can play
cool.
Snake or Minefield. What's
a bit of Pong.
Yeah. Cool. So as we're coming into when was that? Sort of midweek. There was, I think I spoke about him last week. Jason Ronald, the hardware designer for Xbox, he was on a podcast with these guys called the Iron Lords podcast, and they said to him, what's your most anticipated first party title coming up this year? And obviously we've got. And I blanked on this last week. I was listening back to it, and I blanked on Halo Infinite coming this year. I said Microsoft Flight Simulator's coming, and then I said, "Oh, what else is coming? It's fucking Halo Infinite." Like, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't correct you.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, so that's something. And in response to that, Mr. Ronald said, "My most anticipated game isn't announced yet. So there is something coming. Something's happening. We just don't know what it is."
That's pretty cool.
So
that is, yeah.
Question mark. People. We don't know if it's going to be Forza related or whatever. I don't know, but something's happening, and that's pretty much that.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, I'm always up for something just coming out of the woodworks and surprising me.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Should be cool.
Yeah.
Again,
cool.
It's that E3 thing. Like, it's going to be huge.
I mean, does he have a sort of like history for specific games that he loves? Like, is it likely to be car related or something like that? I don't really know much about.
No, I don't know either. I don't know. I mean, supposedly there has been murmurs about Forza Horizon 5 potentially being this year. We saw the in-engine stuff for Forza. The next one, was it Forza 8? The mainline racing games.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't really play those, but yeah, I think it's like, I want to say 8. Maybe 9.
Yeah.
I think it might be 9. I don't know. Regardless, a car game.
Car game. So game on road, car game off road.
Yeah, and to be fair, I've always wanted to try and get into a Forza Horizon. Like, they always seem very cool. Definitely more than just the Forza Motorsport titles. Yeah, Horizon has always appealed to me. And I did give 3 a little bit of a go with you guys, and it was quite fun.
What do you mean 4?
Yeah. Do I mean 4? The one that was based in Britain, was that 4?
4's here, yeah, 4's here.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was good. We did play a little bit. I kind of wish we played it more. But yeah, the idea of it is it's just way more relaxed, and it's just way more. You just fuck around, really. And it's quite a cool concept. So I wouldn't be. And it's coming to Games Pass, right? Like, no skin off my wallet. That's the thing.
Because you have a skin wallet. Police, this man here.
I have a skin wallet. Yeah, so like I'd probably play it even if it was that. Yeah. So it's pretty hype.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say no to, isn't it? I mean, it's Forza Horizon 5 is supposedly going to be in Japan. That's been like a big fan request for a load of years.
That would be very pretty.
I think I think they've got a bit more wide appeal, don't they, the Horizon games? But even then, like, I'm playing it and I have a good time, driving around. Like, we did a couple of the challenges and that was pretty fun. Like, I definitely wouldn't mind doing that again. I might have to re-download it now that I've got my external SSD. But yeah, but there's always only ever going to be so much that it hooks me because the progression system is like sim stuff. It's like, oh, here's a spoil. I don't even know the terms. I can't even take the piss out of it because I don't understand cars enough to try and take the piss out of it. So it's like, here's adjust the pressure of your tires, and I'm like, no, I just want to drive a lorry like really fast across a field. That's it.
Yeah, and ram into my friends.
Exactly. A part of me just wants them to sidestep Horizon a bit and make a slightly more arcadey one. Because I think they can nail it, man. I don't know.
I think they could, but then I just don't think it's the name Forza. It doesn't. You're kind of dragging it through the mud.
Yeah, I mean, maybe under a new IP or whatever. Because they do the Hot Wheels stuff, and if they just did like a full Hot Wheels game that was just like a mental, like a bit arcadey, with boosts and shit, like that could be pretty cool. So
that's what you got Doritos Crash Course for, my dude.
Oh, Doritos Crash Course, kicking off the free-to-play genre. Yeah. I think a Hot Wheels game actually did get announced the other week, but it wasn't by Playground, the guys who usually make Forza games. I don't know what's happening with that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So that's supposedly more stuff coming this year. Maybe Forza related. Who knows? But
Cool.
nonetheless, all exciting stuff. Doom Eternal Part 2 got teased earlier this week, and it's coming out next week, actually on the 15th. Coming on Tuesday? Monday?
No way.
So on Monday, yeah. Have you looked at any of the DLCs for Doom? You haven't finished Doom yet, have you?
I haven't finished Doom yet. No, I got pretty far through it, but I think what burnt me out was the fact that I was doing it on like one of the hardest difficulties, and two, I was making it. I felt like I had to collect everything in each stage.
Yeah, don't do that.
And I did for like all of them, so far up to date. But I think I just burnt myself out on it, to be honest. Yeah, I do really want to go back and complete it. I love that game. Like I really enjoyed my time on it.
It's so high adrenaline.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Yeah, if I played it now, I think I'd just fall asleep. It just takes the rest of the energy in my body to play that game after a day at work. Yeah, it really does. But yeah, fantastic game, and yeah, I don't know I know the first DLC didn't really do that great though on it.
I was just having a look, and it's got a Metacritic scores of like 76, 77. So I mean, not bad, but given that Eternal was one of the Game of the Year contenders, it's with what was it, like 89, 90 or something on Metacritic, which is ridiculous for the type of game that it is. It did come out a little bit lukewarm. So all the trailers look fucking sick for it. And by the way, all the concept art for these expansions has been like so good. Have you seen it? It's like if you do see it, it's worth like having a little.
I think I've seen a couple in passing.
Yeah. The artwork they do for it is really good. But anyway, that's Doom Eternal coming out next week.
Yeah, nice.
Something else which kind of came out of nowhere in the middle of last week was Rust got announced for console. Like Rust?
Yes. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I saw that. I saw your message as well. I read an article about it as well before your message, but very weird. And I mean, do people really want Rust?
Rust is huge, though, isn't it? Like people love Rust.
Yeah, but would people? I don't know.
I can tell you
sort of console community. Rust is just it's like an Ark.
That's what I thought.
But
it's like
not
a sandboxy
quite
kind of build your own survival type multiplayer game, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's solely just sort of like PvP. You just fight other people in the server. I don't think there's any like nature or like Zambos or anything like that. I think it's solely just sort of PvP, and you just it's a weird one. I've seen obviously all the YouTubers play it with their mates and stuff like that. Never really sparked my interest, to be honest. And yeah, I don't know. I just, they obviously think there's a market for console players to enjoy that, but I don't know. I feel like it's probably a bit too late. But
I don't know. Yeah, I do think there is a space for a lot of those PC games to move to console, and a lot of them don't for some reason. I don't like. There's a lot of console games moving to PC, but you don't see it the other way around that often. I don't know if it's just a pain in the ass to port it over from PC, but
and a lot of them I think are just small studios as well that make these sort of games. So it's just like they're happy with the player counts they have running it on Steam, and it's a lot of effort to get these things over. I think to some degree there's an element of quality control that console players are used to as well, because stuff does release on Steam and it just is what it is, and you're kind of used to that. But on console, if stuff comes out really buggy, people just uninstall it. You'll never see it again. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's Rust. That's the nice taste of Rust in our mouths.
Nice.
Other small bits and bobs. Oh, I meant to say when we were talking about Forza Horizon 4, it released on Steam. It's been on Windows Store for a while, but it came to Steam only last week. And it shot up to number 1 and then very quickly dropped to number 2. And it's been holding at number 2 just below Valheim since then. So it's obviously having a lot of success on Steam. And I think some people have even said its sales projections are on for the best selling racing game of all time, or the most played racing game of all time. Like that's
crazy.
It's going above Mario Kart, things like that. So
that's bonkers. I would not have thought it'd make that big of a splash, but
a lot of people are playing it.
Wow.
Reviews are coming in a bit middling though, because apparently there's a few bugs on the port, and it's still full price. rather than coming out obviously a few years later at half price. So, but
Yeah.
we all know Horizon 4's a phenomenal game. That's not a surprise to anyone. It's literally best. Those guys who make those games are the best in the world at making driving games, and I don't think many people would fight me about that.
They're just the best in the world at the scenery and the aesthetics and the attention to detail is just mental.
They're making Fable.
Oh boy. Yeah, that would be great. Fable would be great to look at, but the moment you swing a sword, you're just going to vomit. But
Revs.
The combat is just like the worst ever. But my God, does it look good?
Yeah, that's right. They've hired a lot of combat people, so not worried about that.
Sure, it'll be fine.
Another weird little thing was sometime last week. It didn't really make that much of a splash. Maybe it's because so many people thought it was fake, but there was supposedly a Crysis 4 leak.
Okay.
It was a battle royale.
Okay.
It was third person. And it looked like absolute shit.
Wow.
It looked dreadful.
So they decided to just defib the Crysis body, bring it back to Battle Royale. Sounds like a cash grab.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it didn't look like it was ready to be seen by people. You know, this could be in like a pre-alpha gameplay. I had no idea, sure. But like it was playable, but it just looked like awful. Like there were not textures on lots of places, so it was clearly not finished yet. But they did it in the style of the Halo 4 leak, like the famous Halo 4 leak to you. Which was like leaked a few months, or maybe even like a year before Halo 4 came out, just to a bunch of shitty music. And it was like a potato filming on an old TV, and everyone was like, "This is obviously fake." And it turned out to be real. So whoever's filmed this has like done it to the same music track and in the same style. I don't really understand it, but anyway, who knows if that's real? But hopefully not, to be honest.
I don't think the world needs something like that.
No, we're not ready. Definitely not.
No, all for the wrong reasons.
Towards the end of the week, we also had a few weird things going on with the community. I think that the community got a bit angsty. You know, the wider game community, and a couple of journalists got a bit full of cojones once the Bethesda news dropped, and even from like pro Xbox journalists though. So we had, are you seeing this screenshot?
What, the tweet?
Yeah, the tweet.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of people. So we had Dan Stapleton from IGN. I wonder what effect Bethesda and Obsidian becoming sister studios will have on Avowed. If I were Microsoft, I might consider shelving that game and putting Obsidian to work on co-developing The Elder Scrolls 6 to get that game out the door in time for it to matter on the Series X generation. Hold fire. I know, I can see you frowning. It's weird. Guess what? We had Dan Stapleton's colleague Ryan McCaffrey, who's the host for Podcast Unlocked, so the Xbox podcast on IGN.
Yeah.
With another weird take. Kill Grounded.
Jesus.
And whatever the Outer Worlds team is on, merge them into one team and co-develop The Elder Scrolls 6 with Bethesda. Have Obsidian get the ball rolling while the Avowed team keeps going and the Bethesda game studio finishes Starfield. Let me have
Stupid.
Stupid.
It's stupid. These people they're just from the outside looking in and have no idea. Like, what? Why? Like,
part of me thinks these tweets look really bad out of context, and he was just like being like a giggly, excited little. Like he was just excited, and he was just like, "Oh, like I'd love to see Elder Scrolls soon," blah blah blah, and just didn't think what he was putting out because, like the people, the people who've been working on the Grounded team is like a studio of 12 for like 4 years. It's like, don't call for their game to be killed for no reason. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Exactly. Plus, it's a good game.
Yeah,
like,
it has a decent following.
It's a good game. Yeah, like why would you just kill that just so you can get your Avowed, your Elder Scrolls boner tickled quicker?
Yeah.
Like, no, just stop. Like, these people have worked their lives to do this sort of thing. And again, like Outer Worlds. I mean, is Outer Worlds still? Are they making expansions for that, or is he saying like wherever they are? Like,
I think he means Kill Outer Worlds 2, like Kill Outer Worlds 2 as well.
No, again, Outer Worlds was great.
Yeah, it was. It's had its first expansion release, which was Peril on Gorgon, and then
it's been there.
Its second one came out. No, its second one is coming out next week, I think. Actually, Murder on Iridius or something like that. I think the first one got decent reviews, but it was similar to the Doom Eternal expansions. It was like mid-70s, so people liked it. More of the same, but whatever.
Yeah.
So that after that, though, after the second expansion, Obsidian are then clean away from Private Division, who were publishing Outer Worlds. So that's why they're continuing to release those expansions on multi-platform and are still supporting Outer Worlds 1, because I'm sure they're knee deep into Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah.
But it does scream person who doesn't understand how this works, doesn't it? You can't just throw people at teams and expect things to be done quicker either. Like it's really weird.
Yeah, that's not how it works. Yeah, you can't just be like, okay, you're not working on this, you're working on that. Like they got to gel in. They got to know what's going on. Yeah, it's not just a case they just hit the ground running for these sort of things.
Exactly.
They're so different. If a developer from Grounded was suddenly just thrown onto
animate a dragon, 6, go ahead.
Yeah, it's absolutely stupid. It's so stupid. It would just cause more problems, in my opinion. And yeah, Dan's tweet as well with the
shelving
fire Microsoft might consider shelving the game, pick Obsidian. That's no. Like, why would you ever do that? Like, just these people. It's the Elder Scrolls, man. People just get so moist for it.
Maybe
like it's not needed. Let the game. The game is being made at its own pace. The pace they're clearly happy with the team they're clearly happy with. Throwing crap into the mix for that is just going to jam up the machine. It's not going to make it come out quicker. It's not going to make it better. Like these people know what they're doing, and you don't.
Yeah.
You just want your game quicker.
Yeah. It is weird because after all the talks of Microsoft needs to give their studios more creative freedom, and now members of the press are like, kill their games, kill them. Make my
kill that
game.
stupid game with ants and spiders.
Yeah, me big boy. Me want sword, gun, and dragon. Yeah. Anyway, just a bunch of weird. I don't know. It was such a peculiar thing. I don't know what happened with that, but
only make games. Yeah, they're like, we want more creativity and freedom, but we only want high fantasy.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want anything else.
Fucking high fantasy, dark fantasy. Yeah. Oh, don't get me started.
Jesus Christ, man.
Every AAA game nowadays is dark fantasy. I could do with some other stuff. That's why I find Outer Worlds so refreshing. Outer Worlds are. It's just like it wasn't dark fantasy. Like it was, comical, satirical, colourful shooter. But whatever. So following on from that madness, just a few more things really. Also midweek again, little thing. Overwatch added Xbox Series X and S enhancements up to 120 frames. They added 3 modes. It was like I can't remember them off the top of my head. It was like a balance mode, resolution mode, and then frame mode. That they haven't put anything out for PS5 yet. Supposedly it's there's no announcements, but supposedly it's because it's just harder to do. Because they're just, as far as I'm aware, they're just using the same the same code from the Xbox One X and just doing it up. But for PS5, it's entirely different. And it's a testament to the whole smart delivery backwards compatibility thing that Xbox are doing. Clearly, it's easier on the devs. Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, that in itself just proves it. Yeah.
Like Daddy Phil didn't pay Blizzard to make these modes just for Xbox. They just did it because they got it out quicker.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Interesting.
Really cool.
That's pretty cool. Very cool.
Insider Special Ed.
Okay.
Who gets stuff right pretty often, by the way. He's on one of the forums, Xbox Era. He runs the forum, but he's got a few things right. Believes there's going to be quite a few Ubisoft games in Games Pass by the end of the year.
Cool.
There has been ongoing murmurs about this, potentially Ubisoft Play or Ubi Play or whatever their subscription equivalent is coming into Games Pass. But whether or not they come to that agreement, it seems somehow, if he's right, Ubisoft games are going to find their way into Games Pass as well. More of them, which is...
That would be great. Yeah, why not? Games Pass can have EA, they can have First Party, they can have Bethesda, and they can have Ubisoft.
All of them. All of it.
Just everything, yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
Maybe
what
one
would you like
day
off
we'll
the
just...
menu? All of it.
Yeah. I'll take it all.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think Ubisoft are those type of games where their reputation is a bit like bargain buckety now, because they're good, but they're consistent in their design, and so it's often like, you know what you're getting with a Ubisoft game. You know, things like Phoenix and Far Cry maybe 5 would be things that would be great to play on Games Pass.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because we never actually played Far Cry 5, have we?
No.
Is that the most recent one?
That's the Christian fundamentalist one, yeah. Supposedly it's quite good.
Yeah. I mean, they always are
There's no
really
co-op.
solid. No, never. Why would they do that? And Ubisoft games always have good bang for your buck. I feel like even if you buy them full price as well, like if you're doing these sort of things, they have a lot to play. You know, a lot of value in them. So yeah, I'd be happy to see them come to Games Pass. It's fantastic value.
Yeah, wicked. Something else that's kind of been swirling in the rumour mill is Assassin's Creed 2021. Everybody thought it was going to be China or over towards Asia way, but it seems that it's going to be France first. A lot of rumours are suggesting that they're going to be France for the next instalment, and then the instalment after will be China. And the reason, what doubly solidifies that, is that the expansion for Valhalla is for France.
Okay.
So
yeah, it makes sense if they're already kind of building the assets for it.
Yeah, the narrative threads are going in that direction. So next one France, which is, I guess, they had Unity, didn't they? Which kind of bombed. It was like the
that was in France. Yeah.
But it bombed because it performed badly. I wonder if they'll ever re-release that. Like,
yeah, I heard it was pretty good. If you were to go back to it, you know, in the state it kind of finished in, you know, I heard people said it was actually a very good Assassin's Creed, and in the end, it just everyone forgot about it because it had such a bad launch. It's just kind of written off.
The guys over at Digital Foundry did like a bit of an analysis on it, on like how it ran. Because I think they did something where they could like unlock the frame rate, or the developers unlocked the frame rate, and they ran it on some like higher PCs, because this was a very recent thing where they unlocked it. And apparently it performs really, really well. And they said like this is actually not only one of the better Assassin's Creed games, but it's one of the best looking ones. It's just that I think they had overloaded it with the like asset quality and tried to go too high for the resolution, and the game just like, and the population density as well, like the NPC density was really high for like an Assassin's Creed game, and all of that obviously bogged down the launch and the performance. But yeah, I wonder if so I think they're probably going back to France, because they're like, we probably did France a bit of a disservice. We could probably do it again, and people wouldn't be mad, because 10% of the player base played Unity.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Pretty cool. We spoke about this last week, so I don't need to go over this again, but I think we speculated that there is going to be a gaming conference or something. We don't think it's going to be a gaming showcase, but people seem to think it's going to be called the Future of Gaming, an Xbox conference at the end of March. The initial date was March the 23rd, but that seems to have been moved to the 26th now. Nobody really knows what they're going to be talking about, but doesn't seem to be any indication that this is the event for anything new, any new reveals. So probably xCloud stuff, things along those lines, software, hardware, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot to talk about, and yeah, it's probably March 26th. You're saying?
March 26th, supposedly. Yeah, there's going to be something happening around then.
Future of gaming.
Yeah, that's what they're going to be calling it. Apparently, that's what all the insiders are saying. So
it's a very bold title.
It's a bold title, but yeah, I think it's going to be a more games and services thing. So who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't try and double Xbox Live Gold again. This is what's so baffling about that decision, is that they must have known this Bethesda. I guess they didn't know Bethesda was coming through, but like if they had said yesterday, here's 20 Bethesda games, and also we're going to be adding another 20 over the next 4 months, and they said Games Pass is going up £3, nobody would have batted an eye. Nobody would have been like, yeah, right, fair enough. But with the Xbox Live
justified.
Gold, yeah, they were just like, by the way, it's twice as expensive. What are you going to do about it? Like, I feel like Microsoft squared up to me and like asked me to defend myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
give me more money.
Yeah, it's literally like, give me your lunch money. Okay. So
yeah,
whatever. Maybe there is like a price increase on the horizon for Games Pass. Who knows? I mean, nobody would complain about it. I don't think, as long as it's reasonable.
I could see it. Yeah. I mean, you see sort of price rises on these sort of platforms all the time, with like Netflix and Disney Plus and all that sort of thing, as they get more content and more exclusive content. Yeah, I could see a pay rise, a pay increase coming.
Pay rise, yeah.
Pay rise.
So there is also, in the themes of directs and games conferences happening from different publishers, Square Enix is having their own one called Square Enix Direct. They literally just poached the name from Nintendo. Okay, that's fine, I guess. That's on March 18th. Supposedly there's going to be information on, to name a few, Life is Strange, Outriders, Avengers, potentially something Tomb Raider related as well. All speculation. We
What
don't.
about?
I think Life is Strange is a lock. Outriders is probably a lock without being just at the beginning of April. And the rest is speculation. So
No Final Fantasy. Sad face.
Squinix, yeah. Well, that game's never coming to Xbox, it seems. So
Yeah, that is pretty sad. I guess I'll have to buy a PlayStation for something.
yeah.
No. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Nice.
So that's the thing. Yeah. I don't know what we'll see out of it, but I wonder if they'll show anything else. Show us anything new? Maybe. Who knows? But yeah. So that's happening.
I can't see it. I think they'll just talk about more things coming today. Well, yeah. I mean, technically there'll be new stuff with Outriders and stuff like that. But
well, Life is Strange isn't announced yet, so technically that would be new. But I can't imagine any megatons.
Avengers, they'll probably just be like another character, even though they've only just released Hawkeye or something, haven't they?
Yeah, I think Spider-Man's due next.
So potentially some early gameplay of a new character in Avengers or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wicked. Right, well, as we move on to our last sort of item for the day, there was 343 have been doing these things like monthly. They do like a blog at the end of the month which details a part of the game, and they get people in, and they're all really, really wicked blogs. They always get me really excited when I read them. This wasn't that. They also do like an Ask 343 stream halfway through the month as well. I think they did one last month. Either way, there's nothing huge here, but there were just a few bits and bobs worth going over. When asked, the team said that there was going to be a dynamic weather system, which we kind of knew about because of the screenshots, but they did say there are things like a wind system and a fog system, which is pretty cool. Rest in peace, they also confirmed no playable elites, which is a bit sad.
Oh, that is sad.
Because I think everybody was kind of hoping for an Invasion 2.0, which has been rumoured that that's going to be a thing, but maybe if there is, it just won't be with playing Covenant. So
yeah. I mean, is that
maybe
just?
play
I
Bruce.
mean, is all this stuff just on launch? Could be potential.
Yeah, I guess so. They do mention
content.
something a bit later about what might be in at launch and what not.
Okay. But yeah, no playable elites is sad.
Yeah. No dual wielding, they also confirmed as well. I never understood why they got rid of dual wielding, to be honest. I'm sure there's
dual wielding was cool.
Some argument for it. And you know what? Talking about Halo mechanics is not something I want. I don't want a target on my back for all the Halo fans to be coming after me. But I always thought it was quite cool. But
yeah, I thought it was great.
It is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't have anything against dual wielding, but yeah,
shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Well, they said the main sort of theme they were going for, with like what we saw in the demo and what we've been seeing in the screenshots, is that it's designed after the Pacific Northwest. But they've also said there are going to be other biomes like high altitude areas, swampy areas, caverns, war-torn areas, deadlands, things like that. No surprise, the game's environments are going to be varied. So yeah,
cool.
They said phantoms are going to be patrolling at night, more sleeping grunts at night too. So it does sound like they, I keep saying that this game is sounding more and more like they're taking cues from Breath of the Wild, and I mean that in the best way. In that it's very organic, very alive. It's very exploration driven in that you see something and you go to it and things happen. Which is better than the golden line on the floor. Things like a giant arrow telling you where to go next, things like that, because you miss out on all that stuff.
I agree.
So we'll just have to hear more about that. A lot of they had the Sandbox blog last month as well, which definitely pointed towards that sort of design, open world design. They've also said equipment can be upgraded, but no weapon upgrades. I'm assuming this is kind of just a story thing. So we don't. If you remember when we saw the demo at the Xbox showcase, there was a tab for upgrades, and it got people speculating like, how are you going to upgrade stuff in a Halo game? How's that going to work? This seems to be that answer, I guess. That you upgrade equipment that you find, which
by equipment, do they mean like
the stuff you find on the floor?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like your bubble shields, the one-way barrier they threw out, things like that. Supposedly that's kind of like, I think, and again, to me, this is ringing like Breath of the Wild vibes. In the way that you found weapons and they decayed, you found like a one-use or a two-use grav lift, a one-use, two-use EMP, things like that. Grappling hook. That's obviously another one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, very cool.
I imagine we'll get more information on that, but it's hard to speculate on that too hard because we don't really know what most of the equipment looks like. But I like the idea of being able to upgrade stuff in campaign, so that all sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'm always down for
that. And to be honest, the rest of it is just visual improvements around the board. Lots of wildlife, lots of choice.
Did they improve the brute's face?
Hopefully not.
God.
I imagine they have improved the brute's face. Good old Craig, God rest his soul.
Good Craig. Oh man. Yeah. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, no, it's always good to see.
So that's like kind of the bite-size updates on Halo Infinite. I mean, we'll be hearing more about that at the end of the month in the blog post, and I guess the next time we hear about that is the pre-3 E3 pre-3 equivalent, whatever that is. I think that's probably when we hear about it next. But even then, maybe not. If I was them, I'd make my own event for Halo. So.
I would as well. Yeah, with how much hype there is and how highly anticipated it is. Yeah, for sure, makes sense.
Absolutely. All right then.
Yeah.
Well, that is that'll be everything for this week. I think we finished just under time, which is just a bit quicker than last week, which is amazing considering the amount we had to go through. So, other than that, we'll be signing off. Any closing words at all, Tim?
No, not particularly. I don't have anything to say to our viewers, our listeners. Absolutely nothing. Don't want to talk to them.
Yeah, of course.
No, it's been a pleasure as always. I love our little Friday evening chats and hangouts, talking about this sort of stuff, and it's informative because I don't always keep up with all the stuff. So
you're welcome, man.
You get raw reactions from me, and yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
We should call that maybe the title, maybe. Real time reaction to Bethesda acquisition.
Yeah.
Anyway,
clickbait, dude.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
That's how we do it. That's it. Channel growth. All right. Well, we'll sign off there, guys. Anybody who's listened this far, thank you very much. We'll be back hopefully this time next week. We've got graphics and a logo now, so if you're not subscribing for that, I don't know what else you're sticking around for.
We're kind of a big deal.
Do you have a cartoon person made of you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And did you get someone else to make it that wasn't part of this podcast?
Did you pay someone else to make it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, anyway, guys, thanks very much for your time. We'll speak to you next week for some more exciting developments in the Xbox and the gaming world. Bye-bye.
Woo!
Woo!
Bye.